Store closures, declining sales, and absolutely no growth in revenue. This is what Subway has been facing since 2014. The number of store locations has now declined for the 5th year in a row. So to understand why Subway has been falling in recent years, we must look at how it started in the first place. The story goes back to August 1965 as a partnership between Fred DeLuca, a 17-year-old who needed money for college, and Peter Buck, a family friend with a PhD in physics, formed. Buck provided a $1,000 loan to DeLuca to start a takeaway restaurant in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The restaurant was called Pete's Super Submarines because submarine sandwiches were the menu specialty. Although Fred had never made a sub before, on the first day, the shop sold 312 sandwiches for less than $1 each. That was a huge success for them, but by the end of the summer, instead of making their first profits, they were about to close shop because the customers, well, they never came back. Instead of giving up, they discussed different ideas on how to keep the company alive. They came up with the strangest idea. They went on to open another restaurant nearby. Their thinking was that having 2 stores would make people think that their subs were in demand. They defied logic and went on to open a 3rd store, this time renaming it to Subway. This time, they were able to make profits of $7,000 in its first full year of running. Experiencing their first success, Fred decided that by 1974, they would open 32 similar stores in their states. After 8 years passed and they could only open 16 stores, DeLuca realized that the franchise model was the best for any store looking for rapid expansion. In that same year, they were able to open another 14 restaurants using the franchise business model. By 1982, Subway had grown to 200 locations and set a goal of 5,000 locations, which they surpassed by 1990 with 5,144 locations. It was relatively easy to buy a Subway franchise, so the company was expanding rapidly throughout the 80s and 90s, becoming one of the world's largest fast food chains. Some other reasons behind the early success was the marketing campaign featuring Jared Fogle, also known as the Subway Guy. In 1999, Jared Fogle began appearing in Subway's television commercials, promoting Subway sandwiches as a way to lose weight. Fogle had lost over 200 pounds by eating Subway sandwiches as part of a low-calorie diet, and used his story to attract the public's attention. This strategy resonated with many people who were looking for ways to improve their health and lose weight. The Subway Guy campaign became a huge success for Subway, as it helped to differentiate the company from other fast food chains, and it positioned Subway as a healthy alternative to traditional fast food. Sales increased by 20% as customers flocked to the chain to try the sandwiches that helped Fogle lose this weight. Subway continued to feature Fogle in its advertising for over a decade, and he became a spokesperson for the brand. Subway's franchising model allowed the company to rapidly expand its presence, and by 2010, Subway had become the world's largest restaurant chain, with over 44,000 locations in 110 countries. This rapid growth has also led to some negative consequences. The company has faced a decline in the quality of its food. As it expanded to more locations, it became increasingly difficult to maintain consistency in the quality of the ingredients and the preparation of the sandwiches. This has led to customer complaints about stale bread, poor quality ingredients, and subpar customer service. Another problem was increased competition. As more and more fast food chains had entered the market, Subway has struggled to differentiate itself and maintain its market share. This has caused declining sales and profits, as well as the closure of many underperforming locations. I don't want to focus on this fall though, because it's far less dramatic compared to what's coming next. 2015 was the beginning of the end for Subway. Fred DeLuca, the man behind the invention of this company, passed away. This man had been involved in the day-to-day operations of Subway since its inception in 1965, and his absence left a void in the company's leadership, which led to questions about the company's future and its leadership. His sister, Suzanne Greco, took the role of CEO of Subway, which was a huge mistake. She had no experience at all, so it's obvious that she was underqualified for the job, but she did have some points where she made notable changes, like improving the quality of the ingredients, removing artificial preservatives, colors, and flavors from the menu, and replacing them with more natural and healthier options. But during her time, the brand's overall performance did not improve. Sales began to decline, the brand faced increased competition from other fast food restaurants, and several high-profile scandals, including disputes with franchise owners over fees and advertising, occurred. Some franchisees also criticized the company's decision to implement a new loyalty program, which they felt would reduce their profits. This time, enough for her to finally resign from her role as CEO. And as they say, misfortunes never come alone. You remember Jared Fogle, the Subway guy we mentioned earlier? In the same year Suzanne stepped in as the CEO, Jared was arrested on charges related to child. This news caused a major scandal and tarnished Subway's reputation. The company immediately cut ties with Jared and has since worked to distance itself from his image and story. On the other hand, Jared's ex-wife actually sued Subway. She claims that the company had been informed of Jared's interest in children, but they did nothing about it because they were making so much money from his advertisements. However, the Subway guy's actions had a significant negative impact on the Subway brand, with sales declining and the company facing public backlash. So, with those two factors, Subway did experience a decline in the numbers of franchises. In 2016, the company closed 359 stores in the US. In 2017, 800 plus stores. In 2018, that number was over 1,000 stores. Then, another 1,000 locations closed in 2019, as sales dropped by $210 million. You would hope this would be the end of it, but then COVID came in. During the pandemic, Subway lost about 2,200 to 2,400 stores. That's about 10% of its restaurants, according to reports that there were 27,103 Subway locations in the US in 2015. As of 2020, there are 21,243, a loss of more than 5,800 stores. There's one factor that we didn't talk about in this entire video, so we're gonna dig into it very quickly, which is Subway competitors. In the fast food market, Subway competes against some of the giant names including McDonald's and KFC. It still has the largest number of restaurants worldwide, but sales are declining as more and more people turn away from them. On the other hand, McDonald's and KFC are attracting new customers by coming up with fresh products and getting creative with new menus each time. Other sub-chains like Jimmy John's, Firehouse, and Jersey Mike's also began stealing market share by offering what appeared to be fresher and healthier options. As you can see, Subway is not quite as big or as respected as they used to be, but they're still standing and they've been promoting new sandwiches in a big advertising campaign featuring sports stars Tom Brady and Steph Curry. Though I do want to mention that everything in this video applies to Subway in the United States only. I don't know how successful or not they are outside of the States, but this is where they stand in the United States. So let me know in the comments what you think about Subway. I'm sure some of you have had the opportunity to experience them during one of their better years. If so, let me know what it was like. Or if you experienced them in one of the worst years, especially towards the end or even today, I'd like to hear about that too.